Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Avengers, Empyre, prequel, issue 0. There's also going to be the Fantastic Four one coming out next week, and it already shows what in general is going to be happening, which I didn't expect. And I'm going to get into that, my theories a little bit later in the review. I wouldn't necessarily call it a spoiler because there's nothing to spoil in this comic book, just as a heads up. But anyway, yeah, I'm not showing you my face because I'm still sick, so deal with it. Anyway, you're welcome. So let's get into this. The writer is Al Ewing. The artist is Pepe Larraz. The color artist is Marty Gracia. The letters are done by VC's Joe Caramagna. Covers by Jim Chung and Guru FX. And there's a bunch of variant covers, not getting to all those. Carlos Lau does the graphic design, and Stanley and Jack Kirby created the Avengers. Big shout there should be to Roy Thomas, who started this amazing Kree Skrull War back in 1971. If my memory serves me correctly, that long ago. Wow, I'm saying. So, it's funny. Yeah, let's just get into that. This is basically it is a prequel. It's just telling you a lot of the stuff that happened back in the day. It's hard sometimes to note the difference between what happened back then, in the 1971 original Kree Skrull War, which wasn't it was a big deal without it being a lot of comic books. Amazing how they did that back in the day. It was just done in the Avengers comic books. That's it. That was their so-called event, Nowadays, let's make this into an event. There's no need. You already have the comic books. You don't need to make extra comic books to make comic books. Just do the damn comic books. Anyway, so bang, yeah. Hey, this is what you got. We've got this big memory thing. Swordman is back. Swordmaster? I think it's just swordsman. The swordsman. He's back. Of course, he's a Kotatl. You really have to go back and look at the Kree Skrull Wars really, really super abridged version. The original Skrulls were really nice people. They were hippies, basically. Let's be realistic. They were hippies who wanted to go around and do trading. So they were kind of capitalistic, but they used to go around to different star systems and find the predominant race on top of that, or on the planet, and then they would try and trade with them. And in cases like Hala, where you had the Kree, and also another race, the Kotatl, you'd have them, and they'd be like, hey, which one is the superior race for trading? Because you're going to be the guys that we actually deal with. So, hey, I got a way to find this out. And they were both very barbaric, so to speak, at the time. And they brought them to what's nowadays called the Blue Area of the Moon. The reason why it's the Blue Area of the Moon? Because the Skrulls brought the Kree and the Kotatl there. So the Kree made this gigantic city, and the Kotatl made a garden. And they got word that the Kotatl were going to win because it wasn't just about the trading. It's, like I said, the Skrulls are a bunch of freaking hippies, so they loved it. That's why there's a breathable atmosphere on the Blue Area of the Moon. Now it's not blue. Now it's more green, which is, okay, yeah, I'm okay with this. the Kree back in the day, they got really ticked off about this, and they're like, what? So they killed all the freaking Kotatl there. Then when the Skrulls came back to do the judgment, they attacked them and killed them, and then they took over their starship and learned their technology as they slowly went all the way back to the Skrull throne worlds, and blew the crap out of it with that surprise attack from this powerful starship, and that was what ignited the Kree Skrull War forever. And only today, apparently, they've made peace somehow. We don't know how they made peace yet. We don't know how they made peace, but we do know, basically it's a rehash of the stuff back in the day. Now look, it's really hard to look at this and remember this is Al Ewing, because he's not writing like Al Ewing. He's actually writing like Jason Aaron in this. The Avengers don't always necessarily act like the Avengers. Thor is very, very hippy-dippy in this, which is weird to me, man, especially since Cates is doing Thor right now. It's like, this is, he's just all smiling. How is so-and-so? And I miss so-and-so. And hello, so-and-so. And, look, they're remembering the history, which is pretty much the easiest part. You can't get that wrong. There's kind of a thing that I sort of wanted to correct, and I was kind of hoping they were going to course correct and make, what was his name? Mogul? Whatever. The name of the guy who led the Kree back in the day, he was a white Kree. The pink-skinned Kree were actually subservient to the the lesser numbered but more socially dominant blue-skinned Kree. It was, when there was no politics in comic books back in 1971 or ever, there were actually politics in comic books. And it was pretty damn obvious to anybody who had freaking two sets of eyes or a set of eyes to see this anyway. So, but this was done before they showed that. So the idea that this was a white-skinned Kree was a little bit weird. I thought they would course correct him and make him blue in here. I think that would make sense. But this was the first real universal leader of the Kree. Hopefully they go about explaining how this happened, or at least how the racism started necessarily, afterwards. That would be good for me. Explaining storylines that are kind of broken, to me, that's like the superior form of comic book writing. It's like everybody just trying to help each other out and giving good explanations for why such and such happened. Hey, why did Atlantis sink? Oh, wait, there are at least 3 completely separate, unrelated incidents as to why Atlantis sank. And yet they all still work so harmoniously together. And that's the kind of thing I love to see in comic books. That's what I hope to see in the Empyre storyline. Anyway, the spoiler that's not really spoiler is the last page. They seem to give reference that the only people who are going to try and stop the Avengers from taking on the Kree is the Fantastic Four. So now I'm really interested in seeing what Slott is going to be doing with the Fantastic Four Empyre issue 0, which should be coming out next week. That is the way to write a comic book. I mean, as it stands, they're calling it Empyre, and I'm a dork from the 80s, who's a metalhead, and I'm just like, yeah, Queensryche, baby. So, just multiple points to Marvel for this. They're really, for a thing that it doesn't seem like it should be that big of a deal. Everything's pointing to the idea that this is going to be a big deal. There's a lot of hope that I have, at least, for where this series is going to go. If they do half those things, I'll be thoroughly impressed, Anyway, so far, nothing I can really complain about as far as this comic book is concerned. Do you want to, try and save a couple of dollars? Well, you can save your dollars on this one. All right. If you already know the history of the Kree Skrull War, if you already know the story of the Celestial Madonna and Sequoia, the Celestial Messiah, and all that stuff, you don't really need this one. You can just know that Sequoia's back, and Thor made it rain on the moon. Cool. Moon Knight didn't show up and kick his ass, though. So there's that. Another point, Marvel. All right, I'm out, guys. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.